All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. What is the Niners' number one issue on offense? We'll tackle it next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary at Pig and a Pickle. Tell them that Krug sent you. Get some brisket chili. You're going to love it. This video also was sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. We've won 5 times already this year. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Everyone who does is automatically entered into a drawing to win a signed Fred Warner red 49er jersey. We'll announce the winner at the end of the month of November. All right, 49ers are 5-5 coming out of the Seattle game, going into the Green Bay game. Not where they wanted to be. Not where they wanted to be at all. And there's been a lot of issues. The defense has regressed significantly. There's no question about that. It's not the same defense as it was. The special teams has been really, really consistent this year. Consistently bad. And the offense as well, even though there's some bright spots offensively, the Niners' number one issue on offense is that out of nowhere, they've gone from leading the league in run after the catch to hardly any yards at all run after the catch. The yak yards have totally evaporated. And really what's happened is the 49ers are not getting any separation at wide receiver. And, you know, you've heard me say it a few times, but I wanted to look up the numbers just to verify it. So the NFL average separation when targeted is 2.97 yards. 2.97 yards. Ayuk this year averages 2.4. Deebo averages 2.6, both beneath league average. Juwan Jennings, who wins with his size and strength, 2.5. And then Ricky Pearsall, the rookie from Florida, 2.2 yards of separation on average when targeted. It's 1.6 yards of separation on the 2 targets from this last game against Seattle. So he just didn't separate at all. The 49ers as a team have the worst target separation average in the NFL. How about that? 3.0 yards. And if you look at who are the teams that are, next to them, Dallas is the next worst, then the New York Giants, then Cincy, then Indy, then Jacksonville. What do those teams all have in common? Yeah, none of them are very good at throwing the football. Dallas, I guess, is pretty good, but they haven't had Prescott. They've had all kinds of problems. So, but there you go. Average separation, Niners are the worst. Dallas, Giants, Bengals, Colts, Jaguars after that. Let's hear from Brian Baldinger. Baldy weighed in on this topic earlier. He stopped by on the radio, and let's hear what Brian Baldinger had to say.
Explosives. Let me ask you this. You would know more than me. We were just having a discussion about getting separation at the line of scrimmage. So Niners are one of the worst teams when it comes to their wide receivers getting separation on routes. They're one of the worst teams when it comes to yards after catch, which is amazing because they were number 1 last season, and they dubbed themselves the Yak Boys. How much of that is on the play calling and creativity of Kyle Shanahan, and how much of that is on the players? Because I always feel like players got to execute, but maybe it's something on Shanahan. You tell me, Baldy.
Well, I mean, there's an old belief in this business, Bonte, that if you can't beat man coverage, you got to get new wide receivers. And, Juwan Jennings wins because of his size, not because of his separation. So, and he's very good at slow post basketball when the ball's in the air. So he had a good day. But look, that's what I would do to Deebo. So if your guys are struggling to separate, then you've got to find different ways to get guys open, whether it's bunch formations, whether it's man beaters, crossers, stack routes. I mean, you got to go in a different direction to get guys open. And so I would say that's, part receivers and part Kyle right there.
So there you go, little Brian Baldinger stopping by with the boys in the morning on 95.7, talking a little bit about the lack of separation. Okay, so he's talking about, crossing routes and shallow crossers. And, there's different routes that you can run to try to get guys open when they're not getting separation. But really, when you look at it, the Niners lack speed. Only 3 players have fewer than 3 yards per carry in the NFL this year. Trey Sermon, Zamir White of the Raiders, and Deebo Samuel. Samuel's yards per carry in his career have plummeted. 2021, he's at 6.2. 2022, he's at 5.5. 2023, he's at 6.1. This year, he's at 2.9. The bottom has fallen out for Deebo. So he's not getting separation. He's not, as a route runner, he's not making big plays as a running back. He's not fooling anybody. He's not getting, big yards per carry. And you saw the number there. I mean, only 3 players have fewer than 3 yards per carry in the league, and Deebo is one of them. So what is the solution? Is there a solution? Is there something the 49ers can do to change their fortunes? All right, well, first of all, they need to add more speed. And I was suggesting at the trade deadline, trade for Tutu Atwell. Go get speed. Because, and I mentioned other guys, Darius Slayton, Elijah Moore. We were talking to Christian Kirk before he broke the clavicle. Go out there and get somebody who can run and free himself open down the field. They don't have that player. So I don't think you can invent speed. Yeah, you can run some crossing routes and, you can run some pick plays and some rub routes and try to, scheme guys open with little tricks of the trade and games, that kind of thing. But ultimately, if you're going to change your fortune long term, you just need another complementary receiver to what you have. It's fine to have Ayuk and Deebo and JJ and Pearsall, but you got to have one burner. You got to have a Tyreek Hill. You got to have a Jacob Cowing. So my solutions, and I don't have any great solutions that anybody else doesn't have. Let me just say that off the rip. But Isaac Guerendo is got great speed, and he's gotten his feet wet now. And he's had some big plays. He's had some failure. We've been told by the powers that be that, Isaac really improves after every carry. He gets better and better and better. He's a real conscientious, hardworking football player. All right, if that's the case, then utilize him a little bit more. He was a high school wide receiver. Flex him outside and let him run a pattern. And if you don't think he's a great route runner, and he probably isn't, run a go route, run a post route, send him down the field. He's got 4.33 speed. If somebody slips down, you got an easy touchdown. If they run with him, then that's going to stretch the coverage downfield, and there's going to be guys open underneath. And Kittle and Deebo and Juice or anybody else can catch those balls underneath and move the chain. So to me, that's option number 1. Play Guerendo at wide receiver more. Or play Guerendo or J.P. Mason in the backfield more and flex out CMC. Christian's a terrific receiver. You don't want to take him off the field, but you also don't want to subject him to a lot of hits. What's the best way to do that? Where do running backs take the biggest hits? They take the biggest hits at the line of scrimmage. When they're trying to run through a line of 300-pound plus defensive linemen followed by a 255-plus linebacker who hits like a truck. If you can throw the ball to him out of the backfield, you're negating a lot of the punishment that is coming his way as a running back. So I love the idea of, either use Guerendo as a receiver and McCaffrey as a running back, use McCaffrey as a receiver and Guerendo or Mason as the running back, but mix it up. Put more of your big play guys on the field. You're lacking, explosives. You put your players out there like Cowing and Guerendo who potentially can produce explosives. The other thing I would do is, Jacob Cowing is in the concussion protocol right now, but once he's out of it, throw the ball down the field to him. The one thing that Brock Purdy told me a month ago when I asked him about Cowing and how he's progressing, he's like, this guy separates vertically. So, take advantage of that. He could give you a chunk yardage play. He could give you an explosive. So, there are no tricks of the trade. You could run some route combinations, that might be a little bit more favorable. But really, the bottom line is get your speed on the field and put more pressure on the defense because you have your speed on the field. If Isaac Guerrero is running down the field, man, you're going to put a lot of pressure on the defense. If you can get Cowing, open 20, 25, 30 yards down the field, that's going to put enormous pressure on the defense. So there's no secret to this, but I would say try to take advantage of some of your vertical speed and try to put those guys in positions to help you win some of these games. The Niners lack the explosive play. Guerrero and Cowing have the ability to give them some explosive plays. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Better for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.